Hi, my name is Farisha binti Ahmad.
My name is HAZIRAH binti MASROM.
My name is SYAFIQAH binti Abdul Aziz.
My name is NURUL FATIHA binti AZAHAR.
My name is NURFATIHAH binti Misuse.
Corporate espionage is espionage undertaken for commercial or financial motive, and it is one of the unethical behaviors in finance. Economic espionage is managed by the government and has a global scale, whereas industrial or corporate espionage occurs primarily between companies. Spying on a private corporation is not considered as corporate espionage as long as the information is obtained legally. Corporate espionage can manifest itself in a variety of ways, such as gaining access to sensitive information by breaking into a company's network. We can see that a corporate spy somehow does not necessitate the use of high-tech spy tools to carry out his or her duties. Access to your company's sensitive information is all it needs to commit corporate espionage.
The first issue being uncovered is when an employee obtains information unlawfully and then develop their own firm using the information taken illegally from their prior employer. They are plagiarizing the concept and claiming it as their own, then selling the information to the other parties. Firstly, it can be seen from the case of Mr. Warden create his own consulting firm but did not return the company's information for their own benefit. Second is a house to trade secrets associated with the operation of wireless devices and incorporate a new firm Nubala in the Cayman Island. Next, in a case of a former Coca-Cola and its main chemical company employee, Dr. Xiaorong Yu, where Dr. Yu access to the trade secret related to PPF-free, then set up her own global can coating firm in China. Lastly, the issue of Google, Uber, and Anthony Lewandowski, a former engineer of Google, who stealing files related to the company's self-driving technology, then used it to start his own self-driving truck startup, Auto, which he then sold to Uber.
For issue number 2, corporate espionage is usually involved by someone inside the organization that would be insider threat, as it is easy to steal and supply information of its company secret data to their competitors in order for financial gain or to destroy the target companies. Employees may be the ones who cause the data theft, selling company secrets to competitors. For example, engineering designer who received the job offer only for the purpose of supplying information of the companies to their competitors to get revenge. In the case of Gillette engineers' willingness to disclose the new design of the products of Gillette make 3 triple blade razor to another razor blade maker's competitors because he is in anger and afraid of losing his job after he is being demoted by the supervisors of Gillette. Mr. Davis sent an electronic mail message to Gillette competitors, which is Werner Lambert, with a letterhead of another razor blade maker in order to take revenge on the company of Gillette.
Next, I will explain on the mechanism. Mechanism is the process and the progress of how the work and task get done. That means, in this corporate espionage perspective, how the espionage has acted in the example cases. For the first issue, the exploited data were obtained by the individual from their workplace and then misused for their own benefits such as personal profits or to construct new business. However, the individual does not have the access to the information at that time, but the individual keeps the information by stealing the paper or book and soft copy containing the company's secret data after they retired. This mechanism can be seen in Mr. Warden cases where he retired from Kodak and built his own company, Warden Enterprise. Mr. Warden did not return the company's secret designs, plan, instructions and other information. Later, he collected secret data from other 60 former employees and basically he has access to all information about the machine's developments and project, make it easier to start his business.
The second mechanism is misusing the right to access company's trade secret. The person who conducts this unethical behavior is the people who have access to gain this information in order to share the secret information to other parties. The people who have the right to access company's confidential information are usually those who hold high positions in the company that allow them to be selected as among the employees who have such privilege. It can be shown in some cases that happen, which are in the case of Hao Zhang, a professor, and Wei Pang, who stole proprietary information from 2 companies, which are Avago and Skyworks. Dr. Xiaorong Yu, a senior engineer for global research at Coca-Cola and packaging development manager at Eastman Chemical, who stole BPA-free related trade secrets from both companies. Lewandowski, an engineer at Google company who stole Google self-driving technology, and Stephen L. Davis, an engineer at Gillette company who stole secret information involved the development of a new shaving system by Gillette.
For first problem is personal gains, with the first issue on stealing the trade secret to start their own business. Individual or groups tend to focus on their personal gains for the information they obtained and stole. In recent years, it's stated that the espionage happens mainly because of greed and financial problems. For example, for Mr. Wooden cases Dr. Xiaorong Yu and Coca-Cola and Eastman Chemical Company, and cases between Google and Anthony Lewandowski. Second problem is government's benefit, where the issue being discussed is copying, downloading, uploading, transmitting or destroying a firm's proprietary information without permission, and this case highlights how readily a small group of motivated employees can band together to misappropriate intellectual property for the benefit of the People's Republic of China, for example in the case of Hao Zhang and his co-conspirators Wei Pang. Last problem with current issue is revenge. A corporate espionage may be an internal trait, such as an employee who works with the firm in order to spy, or a disgruntled employee who trades information for personal benefit or revenge. For example, referring to the case of Gillette, the stealing of top secret design drawings for the Gillette companies.
The US government regulates corporate espionage under the Economic Espionage Act of 1996. Possible penalties for violating the Espionage Act range from a fine of $10,000 and 20 years in prison to the death penalty. For example, in the case of Mr. Wooden, he was sentenced for 15 months in jail and a fine of $30,000, while Zhang's case, he was sentenced of maximum 15 years in jail and $250,000 fine plus restitution for the violation of 18 U.S.C. 1831, and maximum of 10 years in prison plus fine of $250,000 plus restitution for the violation of 18 U.S.C. 1832. For Dr. Yu's case, she was sentenced for a very long sentence, which are up to 10 years in prison for each trade secrets offense and up to 20 years in prison for wire fraud charges. For the case of Lewandowski, he was sentenced with a total of 11 years, 6 months in prison, fine of $250,000, pay Google $757 in compensation, and $950,000 fine. He also needs to pay $170,000 to Waymo. Mr. Davis faces a 15-year jail sentence and a $250,000 penalty. He was forced by the court to pay $1.3 million to the Gillette company as compensation.
Now, for the proposed improvement from the individual perspective. Firstly, employees should not discuss the company's secret in unsecured environments. They should be aware of the needs for the security password, which should have been addressed in the written policies. The company also need to have on limiting the use of password within the organization. Next, by having an effective communication with workmates to avoid any communication gaps between colleagues, misunderstood important informations, confusion, diminished productions, and conflict between peoples. Furthermore, effective workplace communication can maintain a good and positive environment that can prevent unethical behaviors such as espionage, hence increase the productivity in long-term success of the organizations. And lastly, behavior management is the most important factor in order to create a healthier workplace. Honest, integrity, and loyalty are the characteristics that each employee should apply so that the employees will not be an insider trait for the company.
Moving on to the corporate perspective. Firstly, create awareness. Companies should conduct regular training and information campaign to educate their employees about the threat of industrial espionage and the importance of information security. The company must ensure that the employees understand well that the threat of corporate espionage is not only internal but external. Other than that, the company also must always remind all employees about the confidential information that is not allowed to be shared to anyone outside of the organization. Second, employee monitoring software can be used in order to track and monitor employees' activities, control any illegal movement, avoid any confidential data, and identify insider spies. The software has the ability to monitor virtually everything that happens on a desktop, along with keystroke and password, online site viewed, and conversation on Facebook Messenger, Telegram, and other social media networks. It helps to discover corporate espionage sooner because they can notify if there is any suspicious activity and may be an expert witness if the case gets to trial.
As a conclusion, corporate espionage is something that is extremely different from what may think and expect. Corporate espionage has risen to epidemic levels. Taking confidential data, information and trade secrets can result in severe damage to a company's reputation and limit their growth opportunities. It can lead to the declining performance of the companies and expose to the loss of overall production. One of the causes is because of the competition that exists within the business and the global market rises. Corporations have to reconsider the effectiveness of their overall security programs given the current threat of corporate espionage. Hence, both large and small business must take the appropriate precaution to avoid becoming victims. Though espionage cannot be abolished, implementing multi-layer safeguards will at least minimize losses.